Tonight, important announcements regarding campus resources.
And a look at some upcoming campus events you may be interested in.
All that and more right now on SUTV News. Thanks for joining us on SUTV News. I'm Patrick Ramsdale.
And I'm Carson Devitt. While classes remain in person, Shippensburg University continues to see a rise in COVID-19 cases. As of January 17th, last week's data saw 92 positive cases, adding to an overall total of 171 cases since January 1st. These numbers come out as it was required by all students, regardless of vaccination status, to have tested negative within 3 days of their arrival on campus. Symptomatic testing will be provided to students at any time throughout the semester by appointment at Eder Health Center, and asymptomatic testing will be offered every Tuesday and Thursday from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. in Cub 105. To keep up with the current COVID status on campus, you can find all this information at raterespect.ship.edu. Attention students, if you're looking for a textbook but don't know where to find it, Shippensburg University's textbook network can be the first stop on your list. This collaborative program made by the Library, Financial Aid Office, and Student Accounts Office is bringing students different supportive options not only through the bookstore and the newly established lending library, but also has a scholarship for students to apply for and link that will send you to a website to reserve a book you may need at the library. So don't hesitate or spend money on renting or buying that book when you have a money-saving resource right on campus. Just go to www.ship.edu/textbooknetwork.
Following the success of their Shadowcast production of the Rocky Horror Picture Show, Fran Forty and Tyler Rock will be bringing another musical to Ship this spring, and you have a chance to join the cast.
We chose this show because it highlights a lot of important topics such as domestic abuse, relationships, identity, a lot of crucial things that are pertinent to what we're doing over in the Page Center.
There is currently no set show date for the performances. However, if you have any questions, you can contact Tyler Rock at tr2537@ship.edu or Fran Forty at ff9153@ship.edu. APB's Grocery Bingo is rescheduled for this Saturday, January 22nd at 9 p.m. until midnight in the Cub NPR due to the snow we received on Sunday. Grocery Bingo is a fun way to win college necessities that you may need, including laundry detergent, toilet paper, snacks, and much more. So if you would like to test your luck, go to the Cub NPR this Saturday at 9. For more than 30 years, Shippensburg University has celebrated the life of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. This upcoming Thursday, January 27th, the community is invited to take part in this year's celebration, which will take place in front of the Old Main Fountain at 3:30. You can learn more on the university's website and join us next week for our coverage of the event.
Students who filed their FAFSA this semester may be eligible for another substantial grant. As part of the American Rescue Plan, eligible students receiving the federal Pell Grant will be getting another grant worth up to $2,000. This money is not considered part of each student's financial aid and does not need to be repaid. Students have the option to put that money towards their loan repayment or spend it however they would like to, whether it be for textbooks, room and board, or new tech. Checks will be sent out to students starting next Friday, January 28th. For more information, email the Student Accounts Office at studentaccts@ship.edu.
When we come back, a volcanic eruption in Tonga is to blame for an oil spill off the coast of Peru.
And despite UN policies, North Korea has been test firing missiles this past month. Stay tuned. The youngest woman navigated around the world solo.
SUTV's Tyler Danson has the details.
North Korea has been firing off several missiles in the last month alone. The latest provocative move happened on Monday. CNN's Ivan Watson has more.
철도 기동 미사일 연대 최저 국방공업용도사에 아로새긴
Patriotic declarations on North Korean state television, announcements of fresh missile launches. North Korea has launched a salvo of 6 ballistic missiles in less than 2 weeks. On January 5th, what Pyongyang calls a hypersonic missile, another hypersonic missile on January 11th, 2 ballistic missiles fired from a train on January 14th, and 2 tactical guided missiles fired early Monday morning. Weapons tests that appear to be part of a plan laid out by North Korean leader Kim Jong-un more than a year ago.
Fundamentally, Kim Jong-un has basically ordered his people to make the type of weapons that he thinks will make North Korea become a very advanced nuclear power.
Weapons experts say some of this month's launches didn't break any new ground. But North Korea also fired this new hypersonic missile, which it first revealed to the public last year. And the South Korean military confirmed it flew at 10 times the speed of sound.
What North Korea is calling a hypersonic missile is really a ballistic missile at the base when it launches. And then on the top, it has a maneuverable warhead, which means it can move in a way that is unexpected.
This type of missile poses a new potential threat to the U.S. and its allies in Asia.
They're able to launch a missile in one direction and essentially turn a corner, which makes it very difficult for radar systems and interceptors to track it.
The latest missile launches, a reminder of the flurry of missile tests North Korea conducted back in 2017. They sparked a war of words between Pyongyang and then President Donald Trump.
Rocket Man should have been handled a long time ago.
Eventually, Trump and Kim staged 3 historic face-to-face meetings and a lot of letter writing.
We've had, during Trump administration, by my count, 27 letters exchanged between Kim Jong-un and Donald Trump. Kim Jong-un, wants that kind of attention.
Former U.S. diplomat Joseph Yoon advises the Biden administration to try harder to engage with the North Korean regime.
Otherwise, we're going to return to the bad old days of 2017, which is really a crisis atmosphere.
So far, Pyongyang has rejected multiple U.S. requests for talks. In the meantime, the Biden administration imposed sanctions for the first time last week in response to North Korean missile launches, targeting North Korean and Russian nationals, as well as a Russian company accused of helping Pyongyang's weapons program. North Korea accused Washington of gangster-like logic and launched 2 missiles the very same day. Clearly, the North Korean government does not want to be ignored. Ivan Watson, CNN, Hong Kong.
A 19-year-old is now the youngest woman to fly around the world solo. Zara Rutherford landed in Western Belgium on Thursday after completing an epic 41-country journey. The dual British-Belgium citizen started her trip on August 18th and flew more than 32,000 miles. But it wasn't without the challenges, however. Rutherford had visa and weather issues in Alaska and Russia, setting her back 8 weeks. She also had to make an unscheduled landing in California because of the western wildfires. But Rutherford completed her journey and is now the first woman to circumnavigate the world in a microlight aircraft. Officials in Peru say the volcanic eruption in Tonga is to blame for a massive oil spill near Lima. The foreign ministry calls the spill an ecological disaster. Peru says the incident harmed animal and plant life around the islands and fishing areas. Stefano Pozzebon has the details.
An oil spill that is wreaking havoc in Peru was caused by the volcano eruption in Tonga, more than 10,000 miles away. According to preliminary information by the Peruvian Environment Ministry, the spill was caused when an oil tanker was hit by a wave caused by the Tongan eruption as it was unloading crude oil to a refinery in Ventanilla, close to Peruvian capital Lima. That caused more than 6,000 barrels of oil to spill off and stain beaches in at least 3 different districts of Lima's metropolitan area. Cleanup efforts are underway with hundreds of workers trying to limit the damage, while the blame game has already begun. An environmental prosecutor announced on Monday that it had opened an investigation into potential environment crimes into the refinery, which is owned by the Spanish oil major Repsol. The mayor of Lima took to Twitter demanding Repsol to resolve the situation, while a spokesperson for the company said to Peruvian media that Repsol is committed to restoring the entire coastline to its original status. For CNN, this is Stefano Pozzebon, Bogotá.
That's it for World News. I'm Tyler Danson. Now let's send it back to Carson and Patrick at the desk.
When we come back in entertainment, we have a review of the latest Scream movie.
And the Betty White Challenge raises over $1 million for animal shelters worldwide. We'll be right back.
You know, Carson, I have been waiting for snow all winter, and I'm so happy we finally got it. I just can't wait for more.
While I do enjoy the snow, walking to class has been very cold. Now let's check in with Jacob Hitz, who has this week's weather.
Last night's snow was enough to cause some area schools to delay this morning. The weather station here on campus measured just 0.8 of an inch of snow. Just be prepared, though, for the cold temperatures that are going to follow this storm. Tonight, we drop roughly 20 degrees from our daytime high down into the teens. With the wind around 15 miles an hour and gusts over 20, it's going to feel like below zero. So if you're going anywhere, be sure to bundle up. Tomorrow, not much in terms of relief for the temperatures. Winds die down, which is good, but temps will barely get out of the teens. Mostly sunny, may help melt a little bit of that leftover snow from last weekend, but it's just going to freeze over once we hit the overnight. Looking ahead, Saturday remains cold, but the sun will make it feel a little bit warmer. We've been watching a winter storm that was set to come up the coast, but it's missing us to the south and impacting southeastern Virginia and northeastern North Carolina instead. Sunday, again, sunny but cold. Temps will be right around freezing. Monday night into Tuesday is our next day to watch for any winter weather. It's still too early to determine at this point when and how much of any snow or sleet we could see. Temperatures plunge again after this storm moves through and we get back into the low 20s on Thursday. The overall theme for the weekend, it's very cold temperatures, but no snow. Stay warm this weekend and enjoy your time indoors. That's the weather for this week. Now over to Marley Bullman, who has this week's entertainment.
Betty White Challenge is trending on all social media platforms in honor of the late television and movie icon. White's legacy continues to live on thanks to adoring fans who've created the viral trend encouraging donations of $5 to local animal shelters or rescues on what was to be her 100th birthday, January 17th. Animal shelters and rescues across the country have been praising the success of the Betty White Challenge by reporting the donations they've received since Monday. Paws in Philadelphia has reported $45,000 in donations, and the Pennsylvania Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals has received $50,000 in donations. The challenge even reached international heights, with the Calgary Humane Society of Canada reporting a whopping $92,000 in donations. Worldwide, the campaign has raised over $1 million, which continues to rise. This past weekend, Ghostface slashed his way to the top of the box office. Here with his first review of the newest installment in the Scream franchise is SUTV's Adam Beam.
In the vein of 2018's Halloween and last year's Candyman, the Scream franchise has returned with a new installment simply titled Scream. Don't be fooled, however, as this latest outing is the 5th film in the series, and yes, the film does poke fun at this recent trend. The latest Scream film tells a familiar story. The town of Woodsboro is once again being terrorized by a killer or killers dressed in the infamous Ghostface costume. However, this time around, the film centers on a new final girl, Sam Carpenter, played by Melissa Barrera, whose friends and loved ones are slowly starting to be picked off one by one, with all of it having some connection to her dark past. A dark past that also brings about the return of the iconic trio of Sidney Prescott, Gale Weathers, and the now retired sheriff, Dewey Riley. Going into this latest installment, I was worried that the returning players would either take up too much of the spotlight or just be there for fan service. Thankfully, however, the film uses the OG cast just the right amount, with a special shout out to David Arquette, who really gets to shine as a far more fleshed out and developed Dewey. The new cast here also really gets to shine. Melissa Barrera especially really becomes her own kind of final girl, and she more than deserves to be standing alongside the returning Neve Campbell and Courtney Cox. Her sister, played by Jenna Ortega, also has some great scenes to work off of Barrera. There's also some familiar faces like Dylan Minnette's Wes, a character named in tribute of late director Wes Craven, and Jasmine Savoy Brown as the nephew of Randy Meeks from the first 2 Screams. And of course, Roger L. Jackson crushes it as always with a sinister voice performance as Ghostface.
Would you like to play a game, Tara?
The film isn't perfect by any means. Most of the jump scares fall pretty flat, and even though the Scream franchise is known for their meta commentary, sometimes the dialogue and commentary of toxic fandoms can be way too on the nose. Speaking of which, this film probably has the weakest Ghostface killers out of the entire series. However, despite these flaws, Scream 5 or Scream still stands as the second best in the franchise next to the original, and it also stands as a loving tribute to director Wes Craven's work. If you want to read the full review of Scream, you can head on over to sutvnews.org, but for SUTV Entertainment, I'm Adam Beam.
The first Disney Plus show from the MCU for the new year is Moon Knight, and on Monday we got our first full look at the dark new hero. The show stars Oscar Isaac as Stephen Grant, a man struggling to control his identity disorder, in which he shares his body with the deceased mercenary Mark Spector. Grant must learn how to deal with his two identities, all while trying to solve a mystery that connects to Egyptian gods and a mysterious character played by Ethan Hawke. Based on the darker tone of the trailer, fans are speculating that the series will be more in line with previous shows like Daredevil and Jessica Jones. Moon Knight will premiere exclusively on Disney Plus on March 30th. And starting next month, Daniel Radcliffe will be trading in his wand for an accordion, as the Harry Potter star is set to play comedian and musician Weird Al Yankovic in an upcoming biopic. The British actor is set to portray Yankovic in a Roku film about the comedy recording artist's life. Yankovic released a cheeky statement saying he was, quote, absolutely thrilled about Radcliffe's casting. The singer actually co-wrote the film, and production is scheduled to start next month in Los Angeles. It will be available exclusively on the Roku channel. And that's it for this week's entertainment. I'm Marley Bowman. Now back to Carson and Patrick at the desk.
When we come back in sports, a recap of men and women's basketball.
And the death of a recent Ship alum. We have more after the break.
Shippensburg volleyball team announced the passing of a former teammate yesterday. Annie Girl, a 2017 grad of Shippensburg University, died from stage 4 non-small cell lung cancer at the age of 28. Girl is one of 8 different Raiders to hit at least 1,000 kills and digs in her career. She played in 130 matches for the Raiders in her athletic career. Girl also made all PSAC second team honors in her senior season in 2016. Service information can be found on Ship Raiders' website at shipraiders.com. Women's basketball took on Shepherd Wednesday night. SUTV's Jack Ainsley has the highlights.
On Wednesday night, the Shippensburg women's basketball team took on Shepherd. The Raiders struggled in the first quarter as the Rams went on a 17-2 run after the Raiders scored the first basket of the game. Later in the quarter, Destiny Jefferson takes a jumper for 2 and gets it. Raiders end the quarter down 29-14. On to the second quarter now, Shepherd in transition on the fast break. Marlene McLaughlin pulls up from deep 3 and gets it to extend the Shepherd lead going into the second half, 42-31. Final minutes of regulation, the Raiders down by 8. Treasure George pulls up from 3 and hits it to make it a 5-point game. After the 3, the Raiders will be forced to foul, and Abby Brennan will put the game out of reach with 2 foul shots. The Raiders end up losing to the Rams 81-75. For SUTV Sports, I'm Jack Ainsley.
Men's basketball was looking to get back in the win column as well, also playing Wednesday night against Shepherd. SUTV's Patrick Ramsdale has the highlights.
It was a redemption game for the Raiders as they took on the Shepherd Rams Wednesday night in Higas Fieldhouse. Ship started off strong with Kion Hardy lobbing it up to Carlos Carter for the slam. Moments later, Jake Biss drains the 3 to extend the lead early in this one. But Biss isn't done there as he's going to throw a no-look alley-oop to Rashawn Johnson. Take a look at that again in slow motion as Biss pulls out his inner Patrick Mahomes for the perfect pass. Later in the half, Carlos Carter drains a 3 to extend the Raiders' lead to 18 early in the half. Shepherd would claw their ways back into this one, as late in the game, Cam Stevens would draw a foul and sink both from the line to make it a 1-point game with a minute to go. But clutch Carlos Carter hits a contested 3 to put a dagger into this one, as the Raiders hold on for the 66-60 victory. For SUTV Sports, I'm Patrick Ramsdale.
Both the men's and women's teams will play Lock Haven at home on Saturday. SUTV Sports will have live coverage for both games beginning at 1 o'clock. Men's and women's indoor track returns this weekend on the road at Bucknell. This is their first meet of the new year and second of the season. The last time the Raiders hit the track, sophomore Stephon Brown and Leah Graybill each set school records. The meet begins Saturday at 11. The Raiders wrestling team has adjusted their schedule for this upcoming weekend. King University joins PSAC schools of Seton Hill and hosts Pitt Johnstown for dual meets throughout Sunday, beginning at 11 a.m. The Raiders face East Stroudsburg tonight on the road before heading to Pitt Johnstown. This past weekend, 2 Raiders of the men's and women's swim teams were honored with the PSAC Athlete of the Week title. Senior swimmer Andrew Hale and freshman Allie Keeling contributed to a victory over Edinburgh during a dual meet last Friday. Hale swam 1 minute and 57 seconds in the men's 200-yard individual medley, in which he was able to bring home the gold for the Raiders, while Keeling dominated in the 500-yard freestyle with 5 minutes and 19 seconds and an 18-minute and 4-second swim in the 1650-yard freestyle. This is the career honor for Hale and Keeling. It is the second time a Raider has taken the PSAC Men's Swimming Athlete of the Week, and it is the first time a Raider has been named Women's Swimming Athlete of the Week since 2016. That's it for sports this week. I'm Mackenzie Mitchell. Now back over to Carson and Patrick at the desk.
When we come back, a Philadelphia hospital recognizes a hero.
Stay tuned.
Here's your check.
A Philadelphia hospital gave a special send-off to a local hero Sunday. Helicopter pilot Daniel Moore was released from Penn Presbyterian Medical Center to cheers and applause. He has been praised for his quick thinking and skill in crash landing a medical helicopter Tuesday. Moore somehow managed to do so without injuring anyone on the ground. The nurse, flight medic, and 2-month-old baby on board all survived. While Moore appreciates the compliments, he says the real heroes were the medical personnel in the back of his aircraft.
That's it for SUTV News. I'm Patrick Ramsdale.
And I'm Carson Devitt. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at SUTV News, and check out our website, sutvnews.org.
We'll see you all next week. Good night.